Morning, everybody. Coach Mark with Action Coach Bluegrass, and welcome to 5 phases of lockdown. We're going to talk about what the 5 phases your business is going to go through during the next 60 to 90 days. We've already been going through it for up to 30 days, depending on your business and your industry. But I want to share that we're all going to go through a common phase, a common set of phases, and I want to talk about the activities that you should be doing personally as well as the activities you should be doing in your business to get through this, and also think about things you want to be planning for. So while you're in here. So as far as rules of the game here, if you I've got everybody muted. If you've got a question, type it in the chat box. If you go to the very bottom of your screen, there should be a chat option. You can pop that open and type in a message, and it'll pop up on my screen, and I'll stop and answer it at the first opportunity I have. If you put something in the chat box and I don't seem to be noticing it, you can go ahead and unmute yourself. The way I've got it set up, you should be able to unmute yourself and say, "Hey, Mark, can you stop? I got a question," and you missed it in the chat box. So. But I'll do the best I can to catch them all. So let's start. So phase one. So again, we have 5 phases. Phase one is what we call the lockdown phase. Okay. Most of us are through this, but in some parts of the country, they're just starting this process. Florida just started, stay-at-home orders yesterday, which changes the number of businesses that have to participate in lockdown. So when you're in lockdown, here's some things I want you to think about. First of all, you as leaders, you're leaders in your family, you're leaders in the community, as well as being a leader in your business. So you have to take care of yourself. You have to make sure that you're okay so that you can be there to lead your team, your family, your communities through this crisis. So, when you enter a lockdown phase, and said most of us have been through this phase already. But take care of your family, take care of yourself, make sure everybody is physically safe. And then start, my sisters and I, we're gonna do a Facebook Live. We don't talk very often. It's funny, we get along really well, but part of it is because we never talk to each other, I think. But my sisters, they talk more often, but I don't join in very often. We're spread around the country. So we're doing a Facebook Live happy hour tomorrow. We're going to get out at 5 o'clock and just talk. My one sister, her oldest daughter, my niece, lives in New York, and waiting for test results, but it's pretty obvious she's got it from her symptoms and the fact that her husband commuted downtown every day and didn't stop soon enough. He was working from home, but he wasn't. So she's likely got it. She's been down sick for 5 days now with every one of the symptoms, and so just waiting for test results. So we're just going to talk. We're going to have a drink, and we're just going to talk and about things going on. Talk about kids, grandkids, and just connect as family. And because we need to de-stress. So make sure you're doing things to take care of your family, yourself, now your personal finances. Now's a chance to we're going to talk about it in the business. Conserving your cash is a really big deal, but also having everybody in there, doing that at home is a big deal too. So look at your personal finances, cut back, conserve cash at home. Even if you got savings, now is not the time to be dipping in the savings. Dipping in the savings, it needs to be for 6 months out, 9 months out, if we don't get this crisis under control. I believe we're doing the right things. State by state, we're doing it a little differently, a little slower, but we're gonna get there. So personal finances. Now is a great time to refinance your mortgage. If you haven't done it for a while, mortgage rates are historically low. Call your bank, call your mortgage company, refinance it. Think about and again, cutting back on some personal expenses. It's a little hard right now. We're trying to go to support some of the local restaurants by doing takeouts. We're doing more takeout than usual. So we're taking from other areas of our budget to cover for, spending more on going out on food, trying to help the local community and help the restaurants, which are just devastated in their employees, which are just devastated by this. So, and then your mindset and your energy. It's important for you, and that's why personal care. You have to make sure that you are there for your client. for your family and for your clients, for your team members, and you got to do that by taking care of. So you got to have a positive mindset. You got to be calm. Okay, take up meditation if you need to, but do whatever you need to do. Go for a run, go for walks. I've heard tons of people how they're incorporating exercise into their day while they're working from home. I've got one guy that every time he gets up to either get something, get another glass of water, or go to the bathroom, he stops and does 5 push-ups. Awesome. That works for him. But come up with what is your. I'm doing laps. Every now and then. Every time I feel jumpy, between calls, I say, hey, my next call, say, hey, I'm gonna be 5 minutes late. I'm going for a walk around the block, just to clear my head, get my body moving. We are not used to being in place as much as we are right now, most of us. You got to keep your energy level up, and you got to keep your mindset up, positive. We are going to get through this. You have to have that mindset. Okay, this is a short-term lockdown. Here's what we're doing. So in the business, if you haven't already done this, I think probably most of you have, but again, some industries aren't to the point where they need to lock down yet. So if you're one of those, then this would it. But look after staff. Make sure do the same things for them. Make sure that they understand how to care for themselves during this. Make sure they understand what you're going to be able to do payroll wise, and help them with the tools to have peace of mind at home in the best possible. Business finances. Cash is king. Talk to everybody you owe money to. See if we can delay, defer, push out payments. Talk to the landlord. Don't pay off your credit cards in full if you don't have. If you don't have to, I'll make a minimum payment on my credit cards now. I'm willing to pay that interest later to make sure I have cash now. Mothball. Figure out what you need to shut down, and don't just stop it, but put it away. If you're in the restaurants, don't just close. Put everything away. Anything of value, especially your liquor. I saw on the news this morning, local restaurant, the Bristol was broken into last. I think it's the Bristol was broken into last night, and we had a couple $1,000 worth of booze stolen. I've been telling restaurant people, take your booze out of there. Take it home. Put it, don't just leave it there. Put blankets or sheets or covering paper over your windows. Don't let people see in and have it be an empty nuisance. The longer this lasts, the more likely that's going to happen. So in shutting down your business, if you have to shut it down, make sure you're protecting your assets as well. And then apply for government assistance. Okay, there is more information out there than ever. Every day I get at least 12 to 15 emails a day on the government assistance programs. Most of them are the same, but read them, understand them. If you don't, call your CPA. I just got off the phone with my CPA, and he is fielding 60 to 70 calls a day from his clients and non-clients that just know him as a resource about the government assistance programs. There's 2 main ones: EIDL, EIDL, and then PPP, the Paycheck Protection Plan. Learn about both of those. Apply for both of those. The EIDL is easy to apply for. It's online. It takes 5 minutes, and you can get a minimum of 10K out of it just for asking. And depending on the situation, it may turn into a grant and be forgivable. And then talk to your banker today. Tomorrow they open up the Paycheck Protection Plan loan process. That money is going to go fast. You've got to get in line with your banker. I have applied for it 3 times this week because they have changed the process 3 times this week. I'm told it will change 1 more time today, but it won't change the application. It'll just change a couple of the answers on the application. But make sure you really, really understand that program, because there are a lot of misconceptions out there. So but apply for it. Apply for it. Learn, and it's not going to be approved instantly. So go ahead and apply, and then you can go ahead and learn more about it, and then you can always decline it if you need to. Welcome for it, Perry. Glad you're joining. So that's the lockdown phase. Okay, most of us are through that phase and are somewhere in phase 2. And phase 2 is what I call retooling. Okay, so now it's time to we've got some downtime, and it's time to retool. So on the personal level, do a skills audit. What do you need to, if you're going to have some downtime, if you're like most business owners and you're not completely shut down, but you're slowed down, now it's time to look at what skills do I need to have so that when this picks back up again, I can be a better business owner. I can be a better leader. There's online courses, there's coaches. I am putting out a tremendous amount of free coaching available. We'll talk about it at the end. Um, but get a coach, get some coaching, learn more how to be great. Because when we come out of this, and we'll talk about it in phases 4 and 5, it's going to be a new world. It is. We're not going back to normal. We're going to go to a new normal. And for most of us, it could be a much better normal, but only if we're prepared and we have the skills. And then the last one, self-management. Okay, that's time management. What people mostly call time management, but it's really self-management. Thinking about how am I going to how do I prioritize my day, prioritize my activities, and make good decisions each and every day while I'm gearing up to do this. So on the personal, how am I spending my personal time? If you're working from home, you've got a whole new, situation that you have to deal with, and make sure that you're managing yourself, you're setting priorities and making decisions to be personally effective for your family, and then your business. Now down to business, retooling. Take a look at your vision and mission. Is it time for an update? Is it time to actually write one down and share it? It's a good time to teach your team. Hey, remind your team, remind your clients, remind your public that this is our vision and mission. Look at your product and services. Are they so short term? Do you we're overusing the word pivot, but do you need to do a short term pivot and deliver your services better? Are there different products and services you need to deliver now than you had a month ago? Do you need to shift the focus on what's a primary service versus a secondary service? I'm doing a lot of that. Some of my primary programs are becoming secondary programs, and some of my secondary programs are becoming primary programs, because that's where we are. That's where business owners are. That's where my clients and prospects are. My target market. Look at your marketing strategies. Don't stop marketing. When we talk about in the lockdown phase, cut expenses. Marketing doesn't go into the expense category; it goes into the investment category. It's an expense on the P&L, but in your mind, it's an investment. So we might slow it down a little, and spend a little, but we need to take advantage of the technology and the online marketing and figure out, but we don't stop marketing. We just change the message. Now it's looking at, okay, which marketing strategies do I need to slow down some? Which ones do I need to ramp up? Because that's where people are today. Think about, where are your clients today? Where are they sitting? Where are they working? Where might they hear my message? And you might need to shift your strategies to a different sort of different strategy, different type of marketing. But don't stop marketing, don't stop marketing, don't stop marketing. Even if you're close, keep communicating. Communicating with your clients is marketing, okay? So, but the message is just going to be different now. So, and if you are changing your products and services mix, or adding a product or service now, because that's what you can do, because you can't do the other things, you need to market that. You need to let people know how to do business with you during the shutdown, slowdown. And then start working on preparing collateral for the future. Now you're going to be, as you're reviewing your products and services, you're also be thinking about, hey, when this restarts, for the rest of 2020, is my product and service mix need to be or going to be different? And if so, you can start working on those marketing materials now, so that when the public does start going out again, does start buying in mass again, that you have the marketing collateral ready for that. And then keep your drip marketing going. Don't stop that. Again, change the message. My message is not, I'm looking for companies who want to grow rapidly in 20 and have their best year ever in 20. That was my theme in January when I came in, is who wants to have their best year ever? Well, you know what? That's not going to happen for most businesses in 2020. I've got 2 clients that are probably, with this crisis, they're probably going to have their best year ever. but most are not. I'm not. So that theme is gone. What's my new theme? And I need to make sure I update my drip marketing. I see, I see things on Facebook that are obviously automated and LinkedIn that are obviously automated. And the message is just wrong for where we are. People aren't thinking. So if you've got automatic marketing out there, go take a look at what you're, what's getting put out and make sure it's really appropriate for the next 30 days, because maybe you need a different message for the next 30 days than your old buy now message. That just might not be the appropriate message anymore. So I see that. And I email people and say, hey, you might want to take a look at your drip marketing because I'm not sure your message is what you want clients to be hearing right now, or your prospects. So look at that and think about that and get it ready and think about the sequences as you learn these phases. Think about what message you want as we go through the phases. So that's phase 2. So let me stop there and unmute everybody. And anybody have any questions about these first 2 phases? No questions. All right. So again, you can unmute yourself if you need to ask a question, or also just put it in the chat box and I'll stop and answer. So I'm going to mute everybody again and for the next phase. So that's the first 2 phases. So and most of us are likely in that retooling phase. Some are not, some are beyond it, but most of us are probably somewhere in the middle of that retooling phase and don't even know it. The next phase, and this one's really important, and I've been talking about, this is where most of my coaching with my clients has been this week, because we've been doing the retooling for the last 3 weeks, and now it's time to think about warming up. It's warming up for the crisis to start to subside. So, and we'll officially enter that phase when they announce that the lockdown or whatever, date, it's, at this point, we know it's going to be May 1st, or it's going to be whatever date. And it's a date we all feel we can rely on. Then it's time to start warming up and really getting ready. And this is one that businesses aren't thinking about enough. So, because the business is going to come back differently than it was before the crisis. And the personal side, your default calendar. And that's the way you spent your time in February will probably not be the way you spend your standard default week prior to the crisis. You most likely won't be going back to that after this is over for the rest of the year. You're going to have new things to do, new things to think about, worry about, and you're going to have to in this warm-up phase be thinking about what's my new weekly default standard, how I spend my time. Mindset, getting your mind right, getting your mind prepped. Again, meditation, reading, do what you need to do to get yourself mentally prepared. Do what you need to do to get your family prepared. Talk to them about it. But the phase 4 is a sprint. And so you've got to be getting ready for the sprint. And again, personal care, self-care remains highly critical during this time, because when the floodgates open, they're going to open in a way none of us have ever experienced before, some good, some bad, but it's going to be different. And so we need to make sure we're doing our self-care so that we are physically, emotionally, mentally prepared to lead our teams through this, lead our families through this. On the business side, so you have to plan for staff return. Do we bring them all, do we bring them all back at once? Do we stagger them in? Are we open? Can we go back to just 8 to 5, Monday to Friday? Are we going to need different hours? I've got a lot of clients in the medical world that, see 50 to 70 patients a day, which means, they are running behind 300 to 350 patients a week in backlog. So if we're shut down through the end of April, say, and we open May 1st, they're going to have been closed for 6 weeks, which means on average, they're going to have between 1,500 and 1,800 patients that they're behind on. And they are unlikely to be able to just like restaurants, the medical practices aren't just going to be able to just open their doors and go back to business as normal. So you've got to think about what do I do? There will still be some distancing needs and requirements. And so what are my new protocols going to be, especially if you're a business where customers come to you, you need to be thinking about what are my new protocols going to be short term when I open up, because there's going to be a demand, but we don't know if everyone's going to flock out or if people are going to trickle out. But you need to be prepared to still have a safe environment for your employees, for yourself, and for your customers. You need to start ramping. So that's on staff and just business return. You need to think about, how do I prepare for the reopening of my business, the unlocking of my business. In particular, that's for retail and medical, anyone that where you rely on customers coming to you. You need to be also thinking about, do I, what I've been doing, if you've been doing telehealth, if you've been doing delivery services, pickup, you need to think about, okay, how do I keep doing this? Because some people will still want to distance themselves, won't feel safe right away. And so how do I maintain what I've been doing in the lockdown and retooling phase and deliver my product services that way while I open up my regular business for people to walk in. So you need to look at all that and plan that out. How am I going to staff it? And then how am I going to market it? So this is, well, now it's, what do I do to my marketing? And then we start ramping as we get closer and closer. We ramp up the marketing, massive marketing. This is the time for you to take market share from all your competitors who chickened out, who didn't get a coach, who didn't study, who didn't learn, who didn't take an hour to learn how to do this. And you're going to get ahead of them. You're going to get their clients. And you're going to get their business because they didn't do this. They weren't prepared. So coming out of every crisis, the businesses that spent time preparing for the end of the crisis are going to do 3 to 5 times better. When I coached my clients through the 2008, 2009 crisis, that was awful. That was much worse than this long term. This one's much worse short term. That one was much worse long term because the system broke. The entire economic engine broke through a rod and had to be rebuilt. Where this is different, it's not as broad a scope, but it's much deeper, but it's short term. It was just, hey, everybody just stop. Stop for a month, stop for 6 weeks, stop for 8 weeks, and then we're going to get, okay, go again. So it's going to come back, and those who are prepared are going to get back. That's going to be there for you. You're going to be there. So your marketing, and think about, as I open, how do I differentiate myself? What is different? What have I changed about my business that I'm going to keep those changes for the future? And what did I learn during this time about my clients, about my market, about my products and services, and what else I can do when I, the pivots I did, what did I learn from those pivots? That, hey, maybe I've got a new product line, service line. And I have to work that into my marketing for how I differentiate myself and start letting the community know. And then look for opportunities. One of the things you should be doing while we're all reading all this stuff about the disaster loans and all that, and the nightly news, you should also be looking for, hey, where are all the opportunities? What are the other, get online and Google, use Google as your friend. What are other people in my industry? If you have connections with people in your industry, associations or something, what is everybody else doing? What has somebody else figured out that they can do during this time? That's an opportunity that I can be looking at. So be looking for opportunities for yourself for this time. So then the lockdown ends, and now we enter the sprint phase. On the personal side, you've got to be, so that now we're getting back to, you need to be the true leader, CEO of your business and of yourself. You've got to maintain your energy, because it's going to go, things are going to go fast, things are going to change fast. You're going to need to be adaptable, very flexible, because every industry and every community is going to go into a sprint at a different pace. And you have to be ready to go. So you got to maintain your energy, your clarity, your priorities. Be really clear. These are our priorities during our first week of being open. This is number one. And be clear so you can focus and stay on top of it. Be committed to it and own it. Only you can own it. Nobody else can own it for you. Your response to entering this phase and how you handle it, how you lead your family, your team, your community through it, are totally up to you. on the business side, lead from the front. So so when you do reopen, you've got to be out front, both literally and physically. And it's no more sitting. If you were a lead from your office, you got to be out. You got to be out on the floor. You got to be out. People have to see you. You have to be physically present for your team, for your customers. You got to think about when you started the business. You were you were employee number one, and you were the CEO, you were the CFO, you were HR, you were the janitor, you were the lead engineer. You were it's maximum effort. You have to be out there. You have to be involved in every aspect. Your team is going to need to see you. They're going to need to, because you got to remember the other. While you're working on yourself and you're encouraging your team to work on themselves and improve themselves, they're all just like you. We're all coming from a place of what I call FUD, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so, even though it's going to be exciting to get back to work and everybody's getting a paycheck, and it's exciting, it's going to be, everybody's still going to be coming from fear. It's like, there's going to be people wondering, are we opening too soon? Is it still safe? And so you've got to be out there. You've got to be communicating. Your communications can't ever stop during this phase. And you have to be aware client feedback, team feedback. You got to be looking and listening. So the only way you can do that is to be out there. You cannot lead from the CEO desk during a sprint. We're not back to normal yet. What we're doing at this point, of course, we're trying to figure out what our new normal is. And we don't know. We won't know until we're through the sprint phase. During this time, a big focus is on existing clients that haven't been able to come to you. So make sure your clients are taken care of, your existing clients are taken care of first. They're the most likely ones to do business with you. And make sure you've got a plan for them. And I said, if you're like some of the medical practices that have 1,500, 1,800, 2,000 patient backlog, you need to be making it easy for them to come in and see you. And not to say, well, you're in the back of the line, I'll see you in 6 months. You may never see them again. So because even if it is 6 months, that's, you have to communicate with them. So part of that warm-up phase is putting together the communications for, hey, here's when we open, here's how we're going to do this, and set it up and be setting it up so that you can serve your existing clients well, because your existing clients are where the bulk of your profit comes from. Cash flow can come from short term. Then you roll out your new marketing to start going after new clients. But you have to gauge, depending on your industry and your case, the new marketing, you might want to gate it. Think about gating it so that because you got to think about capacity. You probably haven't had to think about capacity in a long time. And and capacity is important. So you need to be thinking about, so you need to be thinking about your capacity to do this. So everything's new. So, and then with your new marketing, test and measure, pay attention. Which new messages are working? Which new medium that I'm using now? Boy, Facebook ads, wow, that's working great. Pay-per-click, oh, that's not working as well. Do I need to change my message? Do I need different ads? Do I need different keywords? Pay attention to what's working. Where is new business coming from? What's working, what's not? Because we're going to our new normal. Okay, this is where we are in the sprint phase. We are learning what is our new normal. We don't know what our new normal. We have to, and we're going to have to figure that out. What our new normal is. We don't know, and so we have to pay attention. We have to track and measure, and we have to just listen and learn and just see what's going on with our client base, with our prospects, with our target market, and we need to learn as much as possible what's going on. So, and speaking of what's going on, I'll take a quick picture of my screen so I can see all those pretty people on it, so I can post on my social media what we're doing, and so that's the sprint phase. So during the sprint phase, what we're doing is we are learning about the new normal. we're learning what is normal going to look like going forward. And we're ramping up in different rates. So it's thinking about all that.
Probably ask Randy, and I will again, to be included in all those communications.
Yeah.
But you know, in those lists.
So I'm going to unmute or chat. So you can also raise your hand. So who's got a question? Any questions?
Hey, no, I just want to make a comment that, you know, so far I absolutely love where you're going with this, because my experience so far has been, you know, people are really just getting stuck in the lockdown phase and and not forward looking as much as you are here. And, you know, to me, this, you know, this gives hope, this gives a pathway, this puts meat on the bones, you know, for where we want to go. And, it's in kind of an inflection point, it seems to me right now. And, you know, this is great. So I'm glad to see a lot of our members are here listening to this, because we're all just have been scrambling, trying to, you know, piece together where we've been, and this is where are we going. So I like this. Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Barry. Appreciate it. Yeah, in your industry, you know, you're shut down, and it's you know, I've talked to a lot of optometrists. You know, I work with a lot of them, and it's, you know, I'm keeping them busy and getting ready for it and thinking about. So what are you going to tell your 1,500 patients when you open up if half of them want to come in that week? You know, you can't see that. So, you know, do you need extra hours? You know, so we're talking about, you know, do you need extended hours? Do you need to be open Saturdays for a couple months and a couple evenings a week to be able to catch up? You're likely not to be able to see, you know, you're not going to want to have a waiting room full of people when they allow you to open again. So it's going to be, what's your protocol going to be for somebody pulling into the lot, letting the front desk know they're there, and then the front desk notifying them when it's time for them to enter the building. You know, what are the protocols is for cleaning when they do enter the building to make sure that they're safe, your staff is safe. And so you're not going to be, you know, so in the medical industry, you're not, you know, optometry, dentists, chiropractors, audiologists, veterinarians, you know, it's not going to be go back to full waiting rooms. We're going to have protocols in place for possibly a couple months to make people feel safe and to protect you and your team. And that'll slow things down a little bit, but people will appreciate it. And so you need to be coming up with all those protocols. And how am I going to communicate it? What, you know, you can, all that collateral preparation. You know, what are our new protocols going to be when we open? Because for the first 30, 60 days in the medical world, it's going to be different. Would you agree, Perry, that's really key?
Yeah, no doubt. But this is the first time, at least for me, that it just sort of struck me that, you know, we need to be discussing this.
So, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. So, all right, thanks. Any other questions, anybody? Like I said, you can unmute yourself. If not, I will go ahead and talk about phase 5. So phase 5 is compete and grow. It's compete and grow. We are, so that chat question here. So Sandy, can you talk about how better to use technology? Sure, I'll give you my thoughts on it, but then and I'll open up if anybody else has any thoughts. So if anybody's got thoughts on using technology, feel free to type in the chat box or raise your hand, and I'll call on you. But so Zoom. So like for, you know, getting, you know, anybody who's a service delivery provider, like you are, Sandy, you know, you're a service, you deliver services, HR, training, executive coaching to your clients. To kind of summarize it briefly. So you need to become a master at whatever video option you choose, whether it's Zoom or GoToMeeting or Skype or any of the other ones that are out there. You need to become a master at using technology to do that. Because for now, you can be delivering remotely, but in the future, you should be delivering remotely as well. You know, I will I have always done video coaching, and I've got clients all over the country. So I've always coached video. I've got a client for 10 years. I see him twice a year, and I'm coaching. We've been working together for 10 years, and the first 5 years were on the phone because Skype didn't work very well. And then when we all got better bandwidth, we've done video. But I've been remote coaching him for 10 years, and so a lot of our services that can easily be delivered remotely. So it's getting technology. So it might be looking. So a key one on just delivery of services is video, is all the video options and the webinar options, pushing it back. When it comes to marketing, learn LinkedIn, learn Facebook, learn how to use all the online, all the digital marketing, all the online. There are a lot of people out there right now. It's a great time to use that, to learn about that, because all the marketing people are doing what I'm doing. They're putting on free webinars on how to use technology, how to use to market yourself digitally. So this is a great, so this is that, if we have time for that retooling, this is an awesome time to do that. So and education opportunities are free out there. And then think about, do you want to bring on a professional to better use the technology? So, I've got some staff, so I've got my staff learning different technologies and shifting to LinkedIn for networking, and because we can't network in person. But we're never going to stop our LinkedIn marketing. We're going to keep that up, and we're going to put some new processes in place. So, Sandy, I unmuted you. Did that answer your question, or do you want? Is there more you'd like to hear?
No, I think that's great, Mark. You're doing a wonderful job. I think that now is a wonderful time for us to think about how we are looking at our businesses in the retooling phase, because technology is going to play much more of a role as we begin rolling things out and looking at business differently, looking at our clients differently. So I think you're doing a great job. Thank you so much. But that's one area that I think as business owners, we really need to think about the technology, not only in, excuse me, not only that we use within our own business, but how we forward face it to our clients. So thank you, Mark.
Yep. Thank you, Sandy. Great question. So thanks. We got another question here from Jackie. About at what point should communications about new processes be shared with staff and customers? With staff, I would be including them in talking about the processes. I think that's important to include them so that they feel ownership of the process. Because if you just come up with new processes for how you're going to do things on your own and then just throw it to the staff, they're going to be like, what the heck? That part won't change about how staff reacts to changes in the business, right? When they're involved in the changes and have a say, then they buy in. In fact, the more you can get them to be the one whose ideas it is, you can get, going back to, you're the leader. You define the new outcome that you want, and you empower them to come up with solutions that, as a team, as a group together, hey, so some of the things that we know are going to happen. Hey, we know that when this happens, when we hit this date, this is going to be our challenge. So we have to think about how we do that differently. So, hey, what does everybody think? And maybe give them even if they're laid off and on unemployment, let them know what you're thinking. You'll get some that'll be glad to participate in the conversation. So, I think staff, you can be talking about them, especially key staff, depending on the industry. If you've got an office manager, practice manager, they should be involved in this for sure, because they're going to have to implement it, right? And so, I think with staff, I think it's the sooner the better. With customers, I think it's once you know a date for when you're going to be reopening, if you're in a shutdown or major slowdown case. Once we know that, hey, our opening date is here, that's when I would start communicating. I would probably stagger it out, depending on how much advance notice. I'm assuming it's going to be probably, anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks notice that we're going to be reopening, depending, per industry, and start communicating. One of the things you could be doing right now, so with customers, is, and I probably didn't talk about this enough before, so listen, I'm glad you asked this question. So we need to be talking with the customers every week. Every week. I talk with my customers 5 times a week right now. 5 times a week I communicate with my clients. Now, my industry, I'm a coach, so that makes more sense. I normally talk to them once a week, so I'm adding additional opportunities because my job is to coach them through this, and the rules change every day, the situation changes, so that's more appropriate. But at a minimum, you should be communicating with your clients once a week. What we're doing. Hey, here's what we're doing. Funny pictures, send it, so do Throwback Thursday, Wacky Wednesday, something to keep them engaged with you and to let them know that, hey, you are thinking about it. As we get to that warm-up phase, you can tell them, hey, and just, so on the lighter side, hey, here's Wacky Wednesday, here's our Wacky Wednesday picture. But you can say, hey, while we're shut down, wanted to let you know a few things we're doing. We're actually sprucing up the office. We're repainting the waiting room. Because, hey, you can do that, right? So all the little improvements around the office you want to do, now is a great time to do it. Because the building and construction and tradespeople, they're considered essential. They can come out and they can work on your place. They could repaint. They could put a fresh coat of paint on. They could get it ready. Just little things you're doing, putting up new pictures, we're rearranging this. And then say, and the other thing we're doing is we're putting together new protocols so that, in plans, so that when we're able to open again and see you again, that the environment is as safe as possible, as safe as humanly possible, for you to be able to come in and us to take care of your eyes, clean your teeth, or whatever. So as it gets closer to that, we'll be sending out, some more details on what we're doing to make it as safe as possible. And some of these protocols we might keep for the long term, because they might just be better for all of us. So as we roll them out, we'll be looking for feedback from you. If you've got questions, we'd love to hear. It's just keep talking to them, keep the communication. This is a great opportunity to use digital media, use technology to keep in touch with them and let them know things are coming. So you can trickle it out to them, but your customers, you should be touching them at least once a week. And again, it doesn't always have to be serious business. It can be like the Throwback Thursday, pictures from what your office looked like when you opened in 1990. It could be, Wacky Wednesday, happy hour. I'm doing some happy hour networking. Just, hey, at 5 o'clock, just get on, everybody pour a drink, and we'll talk about, what's been going on in our lives and what the kids are doing and what we'll talk about, the funny things that happened when I tried to work from home. Because yesterday I had 3 cats climbing on me while I was doing video calls with my clients. And I did a webinar yesterday, and one of the cats decided it wanted to sit on the keyboard. So they're just funny things like that. It's just the things you don't think about. But help them, give them timely information. If you have industry information about that it's appropriate for clients to know about, make sure they're getting it. If your clients are business owners and you get a communication from your banker or from your CPA that's good business entities, share it with your clients. Send the things you're doing. Hey, and the more you know your clients, if you see something topical for them, send it to them. It's just be a great communicator and just be help. Everybody out there is experiencing fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Call that FUD. Help them with their FUD. Help them be less afraid. Help them be less uncertain, less doubt. Great question. All right, so when we come out of the sprint, at the end of the sprint, we will be at our new normal. Okay, we're not going back to the old normal. That is highly unlikely. Some industries it might, but for the most part, it won't. It's something will be different about your practice, your business, and it will be most likely a good thing. And if it's not a good thing, then you need to figure out how to make it a good thing. Okay, if your industry has just changed, you need to adapt and pivot and be flexible and deal with it. So going back to, on the people side, personal, now we're getting back into consistency, balance, or really I like to call it harmony more so than balance, because it's never really balanced. There's always a little more personal, a little more business, but it's in harmony. It's working. We're back to our life. It's working the way you want it to, and we're having fun again. Okay, business is fun. So we're now in the competing. We're competing. We're growing. So now you need to get back into your forward-thinking CEO. So your CEO time frame. Put your forward-thinking CEO hat on. But you know what's forward is now different than it was at the beginning of 2020. Forward is most likely different in some way. We're back in the continuous improvement. We're developing. We've implemented some new systems and processes. So now we need to be looking at making sure that those systems and processes work consistently. That we have our, if there's new metrics, key performance indicators, KPIs we have to put in place for them. Now we're getting back to growth plans. It could be, but our growth could be different. Now it could be in a completely different direction from a product service perspective or delivery model perspective, but that's okay. Now we're getting back to because right now with my clients, we're planning, and all our planning is how do I get through this? Not how do I grow 20%? Now when we get in the compete and grow, now we get back to, hey, all right, it's time. We're back. We now know what our business is and our industry is and our products and services are, and our models change. We've got things in place. So now how do we grow? And now what's our growth plan? How do we grow it now in this new normal? It'll be new normal for yourself. It'll be a new normal for your team, and it'll be a new normal for your clients and your prospects. And so you have to recognize everybody is going to have to be managing to that new normal. Okay. Marketing optimization. Now it's take what you learned in the sprint phase of your marketing, the testing and measuring, and optimize and keep as many channels going. You've probably got some new channels now that you didn't have before because you're forced into it. Great. If they're working, let's keep doing them. Let's make them work and optimize that and make sure that it's really working. And now it's time to just go back to growing your business to be that commercial, profitable enterprise that works without. So the last thing I want to talk about is timeframes. There is, in January, most of us running our businesses and running our lives were most likely running them with a longer term time perspective in mind, thinking about my quarter or my year. When the crisis happened, we had to shift to daily. What do I need to do today? We have to be shut down by 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So our time frame shortened dramatically. And it was planning became, what do I need to do right now? Then it became, what do I need to do today? Now that we were during the lockdown phase, our time frame shrunk dramatically, and our planning and prioritization time frame shrunk dramatically to right now, literally this moment, this hour, and today. In the retooling phase, our time frame broadened a little bit, and we're thinking about, today and next week. In the warming up phase, we're now thinking about most likely a 30 to 45 day window. What do we do in that 30 to 45 day window? In the sprint, we're still in a 30 to 45 day window, but it's different than warming up because we're executing. So in the warming up, we're doing more planning. In the sprint, we're doing executing, paying attention to results, and modifying operations. So we're still thinking, early part of sprint, we're modifying operations for this week. Latter half of the sprint, we're modifying operations for the long term. And then when we get into phase 5, the compete and grow, we're back to working on plans and setting goals, setting monthly, quarterly, annual goals, and thinking in that longer time period again. So as you as the leader of your business, as we go through this, your time frame that you're thinking about your plans and priorities is going to change, and it's going to get gradually bigger and bigger and bigger. And so that's another change in how and that's why, that's going to change for you to be thinking about how you lead is your time frames. Because right now in the phase 1 and phase 2, we're really more in a daily, weekly time frame of decision making. But as we get warming up, we're starting to move longer. Again, across all phases, again, like I talked about, answering Jackie's question, constant communication with everybody, staff, suppliers. Don't forget to communicate with your suppliers, with your people that bring you supplies, but also your delivery. I've got a client who's busting at the seams growing because he supplies Amazon, FedEx, and UPS, and so he's got more work than he can handle. He can't get delivery trucks. He can't get trucks scheduled to deliver to their factory, so he's scrambling to deliver his product to Amazon, FedEx, and UPS. You got to keep in contact with your suppliers. So constant communication throughout. So last thing I'll let you know, and then I'm going to open up for questions for the last few minutes, is I'm here to serve the business community, and everybody that's on these webinars, you're eligible for 3-hour coaching. This is not a sales call. This is, I promise, that's my commitment to you. This is not a sales call. This is just to talk about your situation, answer your questions, and brainstorm with you how to, whatever phase you're in, how to optimize your activities in your phase and prepare for the next phase. So the ways to do this are email me at markmcnulty@actioncoach. You can call the office. Go to the website. Up on the homepage of my website, there's I want to talk to the coach. Just click that and do that, and we'll call and get you on my account and get you on one of our coaches' calendars. We've got 3 coaches here, and I'll get you on one of our calendars so that we can and help you out, take advantage of that. A lot of background noise since we're working from home, so I'm going to keep you in, but you can unmute yourself. So if you've got a question, just unmute yourself and ask a question and type it in the chat box. Any questions, comments, thoughts? What do you need? What do you need to know? What else are you wondering about, even if it's not on this topic? What questions about or anything you're struggling with on this? Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it. Thank you, Jeff. I will get with you on that. Well, if I don't have anybody else that needs anything, no more questions. I appreciate everybody being on here. Take advantage of my time, my team's time. We are here. We're available to help you. Go ahead and log a time to get with us, and be happy to spend an hour just helping you through whatever questions you have. Have a great rest of your week, and be safe, and let me know how we can help. Thanks, everybody.